welcome back. I'm Courtney and this is the Accounting Struggle, where we speak about our struggles with accounting openly and honestly. We do not run from them. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over 4 things you should be doing if you are failing accounting. So this is going to be a video obviously for accounting students. So if you're still in school and you're majoring in accounting and you are finding yourself to be drowning in a sea of failure, worry not. I'm going to be going over 4 ways that you can turn that around and have a triumphant finish. So before we get started, welcome if you are new here. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you love it. If you're returning, thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed today's video, of course, be sure and give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So when I was in college, I've never failed an accounting course before, but I have scored low and I have been not on my way to failure, but I definitely had some weak starts and strong finishes. So I do know what it looks like to have to turn your course around. And I've done this same thing with other courses. When I was taking business calculus my sophomore year, this was 10 years after high school, mind you. So a little rusty on the quadratic formula and all of that other nonsense that they put in school. And I definitely was on my way to failure. Did not know how to even really do college yet at this point, because this was one of my first business courses. And I was really struggling with that. And I figured out a way to kind of turn everything around. And I've just applied those same concepts throughout college and definitely in my accounting courses. And it worked for me. So the first thing to look at is, number one, how bad are you failing? Are you flirting with failure, or are you failing? Because if you're failing, if you do the math and you look at your course syllabus and you say, okay, if I scored a perfect score on everything else from here on out, would I still fail? If the answer to that is yes, then that means you're not going to pass this class. If you are within the time frame to drop with a W, to just withdraw from the course, you can do that. Don't know when you're watching this, don't know if that's an option, but that's something you could do, and then just re-enroll again in the next semester. If that's not the case, and there is a possibility where there's enough assignments left for you to turn things around, then if you are possibly able to still pass based on the math that you've done, looking at all of the course assignments that are still left in the semester, then I would say obviously keep going and let's just turn it around. If you're not able to look at the course syllabus, run the numbers, run the calculations in a spreadsheet and figure out whether or not you'll be able to pass, if that math is too complex for you, then, and that is not shade, but I mean, we're talking about basic math here. So run those numbers, look and see if it's something that you can still turn around, if you do have enough assignments left to be able to do that. And if so, let's just go ahead and implement some new strategies. So if you are failing miserably and you can possibly still change it, but you would need to get a perfect score or near perfect score on every assignment that is left, then I won't tell you that it's not possible, because it absolutely is. But you do need to look at all of the things that are left that are in your assignments in the syllabus. So if you have big projects coming up, or if you have large exams, or whatever the combination of things are, look at specifically what those assignments are going to be and what the subjects they're going to be on, so that you can map out a plan in your schedule. So if you know, okay, in this last 2 weeks of school, I'm going to have this big exam and that's worth 30% of my grade. So I need to really touch up on, or make sure that I'm paying attention to those subjects, because obviously that's a heavy part of my grade. And if that's 30% of my grade, if I score X amount of points on it, I should be able to pass this class now, whatever math you have to do. But be paying attention to that, so that you know exactly where you need to spend the most time and where you need to focus. Okay, so the second thing you need to do is implement a strategy for turning around your grades. So you want to take a look at your schedule, how it is now, and really assess where you've been failing and what the issue is. A lot of times it comes down to just not being able to put enough time in with studying, or just choosing not to put enough time in with studying. That's almost always the case. So look at what you've done wrong. where were your lowest scores? Was it in homework? Were you just not completing the assignments? Were they not completed on time? Were there projects or group assignments that have ruined your grade? Or was it exams? Was it quizzes? If it's something like quizzes, like, okay, we have weekly quizzes and I really don't put that much effort into them because it's not an exam. If you're one of those people, that would mean you need to beef up your quiz work. You need to start paying attention and doing well on those quizzes. If it's something like homework and you're just not turning it in on time, or you're not putting in a lot of effort because you didn't really understand the severity of it or how important it was to your grade, or if it is something like attendance. If you are not doing well because of attendance, honestly, just go. You're paying for it, or someone's paying for it. You should be going. I mean, and now it's virtual, right? I mean, most schools are not even physically having to get up. So if it's virtual and you still not going, like, it's a lot of games being played and I want it to stop. So do make sure you're showing up. If attendance is a part of your grade, that's an easy score. That's probably the easiest accounting you'll ever do, is showing up. So definitely don't miss those freebie points. But basically just assess where you had the biggest downfall in your grade and what has hurt your grade the most in this course, and figure out how you can, or how you will need to adjust going forward. So if you are needing to make a change in your schedule, when I was in school, once I got to my junior year, I stopped working full-time. So I was working full-time as a personal stylist for Nordstrom, and I couldn't do that anymore because I could not afford to have a full-time job. Even though I needed to because I had bills, I couldn't do that and take 18 credits of like really hard classes and do well. I needed to get A's and B's, and it just wasn't gonna work for me. So I decided to go to part-time, and I was only working from like 5 to close. I think we closed at like 10 o'clock. So I was working in the evenings, but I was going to school all during the day. I did still work on the weekends, but I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like, it was a Saturday, I didn't work on Sundays, so I would just work all day Saturday, but I would still have time to study throughout the week. So I would take my classes in the morning from like 8 to 12-ish, and then the rest of the time would be spent studying, and then I would go to work. And I didn't go to work every single day. I mean, it was a retail job. I went like maybe 4 times a week. So just figure it out. Figure out what adjustments you need to make in your schedule. Now, obviously, this is not going to be as flexible for the non-traditional students who have like full-time 9 to 5, 8 to 5 commitments in their schedules. If you have that type of job and you are taking on this type of a coursework and you're finding yourself failing, you will still have to be flexible, but that's going to just mean literally like having longer days. That's really going to be the only way. If you're going to still put in the time that you need to put in to be able to pass and work your full-time job, and you can't simply cut back on your hours and be as poor as I was by choice. If you have responsibilities and you can't afford to take that type of a loss, then obviously keep going to work, but you're gonna have longer days. You're gonna be sleeping a lot less. But those are the things you need to do. You need to make some changes in your schedule. Figure out where you messed up and make some necessary changes in your schedule. Also, look at any other time commitments that are not paid, of course, that are something that you've been putting a lot of time into. Like if you are on student organizations, or if it's like a work study or something that's a part of your tuition and you're committed and you have to do that, you know, for your room and board. If you're like a RA or something like that and you have to do that, you know, of course keep doing that. But if you have other commitments that are taking a lot of your time, but you're not getting paid, this is just something that's like really near and dear to your heart, you're volunteering or you're doing something like that's taking up a huge commitment of time, you're probably going to need to cut back on that if you can. All in all, this is going to look like sacrifice. So it's going to be some things that you're not going to want to cut back on, and you're going to feel like, oh, I can't stop doing this. This is something I have to do. But what you have to do is not fail your class. So if you want to be able to change that, if you want to be able to pass, there's something else that you're going to have to give up. So if that is your brunch on Sundays, if that is, you know, your time at the YMCA where you're volunteering, it's going to be something that you're going to change. And that's just going to be the price that you'll have to pay. So the third thing that I think you should do is go and speak with your professor. Let them know that you, one, show face. If they don't know you, all of my professors knew me. They probably still remember me, at least by face. But if you've never like met your professor, they don't really know you. It's not that type of a thing. Definitely speak with them. Let them know that, hey, you know, I've done the math. I see I'm not doing well in this class. I really want to make the changes that I need to make. And usually they'll say right up front in the syllabus whether or not they offer extra credit, or if they curve any grades. They'll say usually all of that up front. And a lot of times they really stick to that. If they say, don't come up in here asking me for no extra credit, don't ask me for a curve. If they say all of that in the beginning, they probably mean it. If they tell you they want you to come to class and attendance is important, they probably mean it. But it's still important to let them know, hey, just letting you know, I haven't done well in this course. I haven't been performing well, and I really want to turn things around. And I've done the math. I know that I can still possibly pass this course, but I'm going to need to partner with you about, you know, to help to make this happen. So wondering if there's any opportunities for extra credit, if there's anything that I can do to improve my grade beyond just the coursework that is available to me. Be very clear when you're saying these things, but you're seeking opportunities for extra credit. And if that is not an option, then just be going to their office hours for any help that you need on courses, on particular topics that are just causing you a lot of issues. If you're not getting certain topics, if you are struggling to understand and you aren't getting the help you need in the course, in the actual class, and you need some one-on-one time with them, just let them know. Reach out to them. That's what they're there for. A lot of people don't even use office hours, so really professors they're just in there waiting for a student to come by. They're just grading papers and minding their business. And if you stop by, they're usually like happy that you care enough to even take the time to do that. At least that was my experience. A lot of professors were like, oh, you know where my office is. Except for my one tax professor who never wanted company. But the rest of them, they were happy to see you. So if you will reach out to your accounting professors and just let them know that you do care about your grade and you want to make a change, seek out any opportunities for extra credit. Don't ask them for a curve, but ask about extra credit, any additional help they might need, and yeah, see how that helps. So the fourth and the most important thing that you need to do is solicit help. If you are not performing well in a course, you will need to reach out for help. And there's a lot of different areas that you can do this in. So I think that you should use a variation of these things. The first thing is obviously, like I said, reaching out to your professors whenever there's a particular topic that you're not, you know, grasping. Reach out to them during their office hours, but also see if there are any resources on campus. If you can just start with your actual class, sending an email out to the class saying, hey, I'm going to be studying for the exam that's this week. I'll be in the library from this time to this time. Anyone's welcome to join me. And people will probably show up. This happened to me many times. People will send out those types of emails and I would show up like, hey, and it would be several of us. And so, you know, that's one way. Even if they're not necessarily tutors, just being able to collaborate with other people in your class, things that you might not be understanding, they might understand, and vice versa. And so you're able to help each other and work together. So that's one way of getting some additional help. Another way is to look for any opportunities for tutoring on campus. When I was in college, they didn't have accounting tutoring like just on campus. I just didn't know of any of that. But we had NABA, which is the National Association for Black Accountants, and we would have lifting as we climb study sessions. So all of the members of NABA, even if you're not in the same classes together, it was just people who were accounting students in NABA getting together to study their accounting work and to do homework assignments. And so you would be in a group of maybe 20 or 30 people or however many, and you know, that person might, one of the people in the group might be in one of your classes, and you would just kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And that was very effective. We did that all the time. I would go to those on Sundays regularly, and it was extremely helpful, especially because a lot of those same people were in my classes. We had the same professors, the same assignments. And so that way you're able to just get help from people who, it's not necessarily that they're tutors, but they understand the material in a way that maybe you don't. So wherever you're a little bit weaker, they might have a stronger understanding. So it really was helpful. It was very effective. But you don't want to limit yourself to just the students that are on campus and the online or on-campus resources. You also want to be looking online. There are a ton of people. If you go on LinkedIn and you look for accounting tutors or accounting help, you'll find a bunch of resources. You might be able to find some directly in your area. Everybody isn't necessarily studying for the CPA exam. A lot of online accounting tutors are still helping students while they're still in school. And to be clear, the material that's on the CPA exam is the same material that's pulled from college courses. So if someone is a CPA tutor, they're most likely going to be able to help you with your accounting coursework as well. So look into those resources. Go to LinkedIn and look for certain keywords. Like if you're taking intermediate accounting, just type in like intermediate 2, intermediate accounting 1, tax 1, whatever class you're taking, and look for help in those areas. And then of course the more obvious resource online would be YouTube. So of course I talk about this in another video where I list out 3 accounting YouTube channels that are helpful. There's one in particular, Farhart's Accounting Lectures, that just goes over a lot of accounting material, and he will cover everything from your first year of accounting in college all the way up to graduation, and then of course the CPA exam. So there is so much information online that is available to you that you can use as a resource, and some of it is paid. Obviously, if you're willing to pay, you're probably going to have access to even more useful information and more helpful and targeted specific information. But there's a lot of free resources as well. I get it, you're in college, you probably don't have a ton of money to spend, totally reasonable. But there is a lot of free help online. Just make sure you're paying attention to where it's coming from. You obviously want someone who's studied accounting, someone who has the background in accounting to give you help with it. But if someone is making YouTube videos and they have the same textbook as you and they're going over these concepts, if they have a history of producing this type of content and it's someone who has a pretty good reputation, then definitely be willing to use that as a resource. So all in all, you really will have to sacrifice. You really will have to be willing to put in the extra hours. When I knew that I was not necessarily failing, but just performing really poorly in certain accounting classes, or when I was getting to like the end of the semester and I wasn't quite on target to make an A, which was always my goal. If I knew that, okay, now I didn't score as high on these other exams, I'm gonna have to get a perfect score on this last 2 exams just to finish with an A. So in any of those instances, what I would do was I would really just go hard with my studying. I would get up at like 5 or 6 a.m. and study before class, and then I would study again into the wee hours of the night, truly. I was always studying. That just has been like something I've been doing for years now. But I would get up really, really early and study bright and early in the morning, which I've said in many other videos. I feel like that's the best time to study. You're not distracted yet. Your brain is so permeable, and all of the information just sticks better. So I did that. I stopped working full time. I stopped doing fun things, didn't do any extracurricular activities, no additional groups or time committed activities. I pretty much just went to school, and that was all that I was doing, and it paid off. I was still able to graduate cum laude and do well and complete all of my coursework with the grades that I needed to. And the reason why this is so important is because jobs, employers will ask for your transcripts when you are looking for a job. Once you secure a job, even if you've secured the job offer while you're still in school, once you go to sign on that year, they're going to ask for your transcripts. And truthfully, some jobs will even as a professional want to see your transcripts. It could happen. It's not like this unheard of thing. People want to know that you performed well, not that you just secured your degree. And usually in accounting, passing means a B or better. Once you get into grad school, that's definitely the case. But when you are in undergrad, if you get below a B, if you get a C in an accounting course, let me tell y'all a story. If you've been following me since the very beginning, you've heard this a million times, but technically you still pass even if you get a C. But when I was in school, I got a C in intermediate 2. There's 3 intermediates, 1, 2, and 3. I got a C in intermediate 2. And the following semester, I got an email from the accounting department, and it read thus: you received below a B in accounting 204. We feel you should change your major to something other than accounting, because you will most likely not finish your degree in accounting, and you will most likely not get a job in accounting. And yeah, basically you're dumb and you should just quit at life. That part is, I'm paraphrasing, but the first part of that was verbatim. That's what the email said. Like, you're never going to be able to finish your degree, and you're never going to be able to get a job in accounting because you did not get at least a B in this very one class. But I'm not still bitter. I'm not still bitter. I'm not still bitter. I'm not still bitter. The point is, if you don't get A's and B's in accounting, you will hear about it, and it will be something that lingers. Now, I obviously went on to do fine, so that wasn't the end of the journey, but the point is, you definitely, your grades matter. So a lot of people will tell you, oh, no one's gonna ask you what your grade is, no one cares about that as long as you have that degree. That is not the case in accounting. Accounting is not one of those subjects where it doesn't matter what what your grades look like or what your GPA is. That does matter in accounting. You do need a certain GPA to get a good job, and you do need certain grades. So all of that does matter. So all this to say, if you are currently failing or if you are underperforming in your accounting course, you can still turn it around. You can, if you can. I mean, you know the numbers better than I do. Look at them, see if you can still turn it around. If you can, implement these strategies and you'll be fine. If you are not able to, then of course, like I said, if you still have time to withdraw from the class, withdraw, get a W, and then retake it. If it's too late and you're gonna fail, then it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I mean, people fail all the time at stuff. You just have to go back and get an A the next time in this class. It's not acceptable to fail and then come back and get a C, because then it's like, did you really get it? You want to come back really, really, really strong. So that way when you're explaining your F, your fail, or whatever grade it is, it could be a D. If you are sitting in front of an employer and they're like, so talk to me about this one class that you didn't do well in, then you can at least say, well, I did poorly the first time around. I found the subject matter to be difficult, but I did actually pass it with an A the next go round. So that's really all they're looking for. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I hope that you found this video to be helpful. If you did, of course, be sure and give it a thumbs up and share it, like, comment, subscribe, all of that. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.